Hey, everybody, welcome to the broadcast tonight. So, we're going to talk about Social Security. There's been a lot of talk in the news about Social Security, and we get a lot of questions about Social Security from people. But before I dive into that, I want to welcome everybody. Those of you that are new to the group, thanks so much for joining. Hit us up with a hashtag live or hashtag replay on the comments below. Let us know how you're watching. If you have any questions, whatever, drop them in the comments as below. We'll get it. We'll get to them and answer you back either in the comments or on a DM if you want it that way. For those of you that have been in the group for a while, welcome back. And for if you've ever missed broadcast, you can go back out, look through the video links and events links and all that kind of stuff on the group. Go back and rewatch videos. You can also go to the YouTube page and check them out there as well. If you can't find something, just hit us up. We're happy to help. Be on the lookout for different posts that we're putting out there. Like I said, we have some stepped up content. We're going to be offering quite a few things going forward as well. The latest one we have out there is about watching the Baby Boomer Dilemma movie. It's a full feature movie about retirement planning. So if you're one of the first 15 people out there on that post, follow the instructions on that post, and we will get in contact with you and get that free movie to you. It's a fantastic movie to watch about retirement planning. Anyway, so let's dive into tonight. Social Security. So we get asked a lot about Social Security because it's in the news a lot, right? Is Social Security going to be there when we retire? Well, obviously I don't have a crystal ball and predict the future, but let me give you some facts and let me give you my opinion on where things are at. Okay. So if the government does absolutely nothing with Social Security, that it's set to go insolvent around 2035. They just updated that to 2035. What that means is it doesn't mean it goes away, but it means that there's more money going out of the program than coming in, right? We have an aging population. So America is getting older. We have more and more people living longer and living to, age 100. The population has aged and there's not as many people putting into it because there's not as many people being born as what's coming into the Social Security age, right? So with that, that means that if they do absolutely nothing, there's probably about a 23% cut in benefits, right? That's if they do nothing. However, I don't think that's going to be the case. I don't think that our generation is going to have to worry about Social Security and probably not even future generations. They're going to make some adjustments. Let's face it. The government pretty much waits the last minute to do a few things. How many times have we seen over the last few years about them having to put a band aid on the budget just to fund it for another 6 months, right? That's typically what they do. They've been kicking it down the can, right? We all know that the government's running on a razor thin margins. That's why they keep on having to raise the debt ceilings. They're constantly putting band-aids on to fund the budget, right? Which is kind of scary, which is also why we think taxes are going up. And that's a whole another topic that we'll talk about taxes in retirement and what you need to do to minimize that, right? That's for another day. So, but on Social Security, it's the same kind of thing. More than likely, they're going to put a band-aid on it to make it fund out for another couple decades. And they're going to do a couple of what's proposed. There's nothing on the floor of the Senate or Congress right now, but there are things in committees that are being talked about, like raising the top dollar amount that you contribute into. For instance, people that once you make $160,000 a year, those people stop contributing once they hit that 160 mark earlier in the year, right? Well, the people that make more than $160,000 a year, they stop paying for the rest of the year, and then they start paying it again once the year starts back over. They're looking at raising that dollar limit. That's going to contribute quite a bit more into the system. There's also some other things they're tossing around about raising the actual tax rate, the FICA tax rate that you get out of your paycheck. Gets taken out of your paycheck. That's probably going to be increased a little bit. So there's some things like that that are being proposed that will give some more longevity to the program before it goes insolvent. I don't know that those are long-term fixes. Maybe they are because once the baby boomer generation passes through, and that stops, it will probably settle out a little bit. But those two things alone would help fund it, at least for our generations. And then for past that, if we still have that aging population, then sure, the government's going to have to make some other future adjustments. And there are some other things they can do. So my personal opinion is, and one other thing that we're seeing is, I don't think that it's going to go away. I don't even think benefits are going to be cut. What I think is going to happen is those two different aspects, as far as the cap being raised and the tax being raised, which really won't impact us once we retire, right? So I wouldn't worry about it. I would still count on Social Security being there when you retire, right? At most, there may be a slight benefit cut, but not 20 or 23%. But I really don't even think that's going to happen, right? The other part of that is it's kind of political suicide for anybody to let that happen on their watch. Senior citizens make up a huge population in the United States, and they're usually pretty vocal and get out and vote, right? So I don't really see that happening, right? So however, Social Security usually only accounts for about 40% on average in America. Social Security accounts for about 40% of people's retirement, right? Sometimes it's more, sometimes it's less, depending upon your Social Security benefit, what your budgets are, those kind of things, right? So you can't rely just on Social Security alone. You got to have a nest egg. You got to have a plan for that additional income. Okay. Well, a couple of things to think about with Social Security. Now, we've talked a lot about retirement planning, obviously, in this group and ways to collect that nest egg, protect that nest egg, and what to do with it. But as far as Social Security goes, let's talk about that for a minute, right? That is a form of guaranteed income, and we talk a lot about guaranteed income because you need guaranteed income for that needs category to make sure that your budget in retirement, a minimum, is covered. The guaranteed income means it's a regular paycheck, it's replacing your paycheck coming in guaranteed every month. Social Security is one of those, right? There's other ways to do that as well, like private pensions and things like that. More on that on another day, or hit me up and I'm more happy to talk to you about it, right? But Social Security is one of those things. So, what do we need to think about Social Security other than just going to file? Well, when you go to the Social Security office or you call them, they cannot give you advice. All they can do is tell you, here's the forms, here's how you file, here's how you do it, right? As far as physically doing it. They cannot give you recommendations. They're not allowed to. Okay. There is such a thing as Social Security optimization, which basically dials in the timing of when you file, right? And how you file. Okay. There's spousal benefits, there's things for ex spouses. Of course, there's disability, all those different things. When you go and do a Social Security optimization, it factors in the timing of when to file. It counts for how, if you file early or file late, what's your break even point for that decision? How long do you have to live and take Social Security for that decision to pay off? Right. That's part of the Social Security optimization. We have seen with people we work with in our programs that the Social Security optimization can make 100 or $125,000 difference in their overall lifetime benefit. Right, that's a significant amount, so it's worth considering looking at. Now, from a timing perspective, the earliest you can file is 62, the latest you can file is 70. Your full retirement age for most everybody now is 67. Okay, so what that means is, though, is your full retirement age, you get 100% of your benefit. Okay, the monthly amount. If you file early, your benefit is reduced. If you wait between 67 and 70, every year you wait after 67, your benefit jumps up 8%. Okay, so that's pretty handsome as well. So that optimization calculation goes into finding that break even point. What makes sense for you? Just like every retirement plan should be personalized and it's not a one size fits all. Everybody's circumstances as far as what the right time to file for Social Security is different for them. So what goes into that decision, right? Well, what is your budget needs? How and when you need, when you need it, okay? And do you have other funds that can help fund your budget if you delay Social Security? So it doesn't mean when you file and when you retire are necessarily the same thing, right? You can say, hey, I want to retire at 67, but I don't want to take my benefit until I'm 70 because I want to get that bigger benefit. So what you do is we build what's called a Social Security bridge. So what does a bridge do? It covers the gap, right? So we're going to cover the gap between you retiring and need an income replacement and when you go file Social Security later on, right? Basically, that's done out of your savings. It's done out of your nest egg, and it's very well possible. Some people can do that, some people can't. Right? You have to do analysis on if you have enough in there to do that. It works really well if you have the nest egg to do that or enough to do that. Right? It doesn't mean So you're taking a little bit out of your nest egg until you file, and then it drops back down once you take it out of it. Right? That's one aspect of it. Okay. The other thing you got to look at is spousal benefits if you're both filing. If you're married, sometimes the filing timing is different. One person may be able to take it earlier than the other. Of course, when you need it is is a critical factor. The other thing of it is the tax side of Social Security as well. A lot of people don't realize that Social Security benefit can actually be taxed, right? A lot of people don't know that. It's called if you're making provisional income after you start taking your benefit. What that provisional income is, it's actually any taxable income that comes into your possession, right? Whether you're working part time in retirement, taxable distributions from your retirement accounts, all that comes into play as taxable income. So there's some figures out there that say if you fall within this threshold, then either you're basically if you fall under the threshold, 0% your taxes, excuse me, your benefit won't be taxed at all. If you fall on a different threshold, then 50% of your Social Security benefit is going to be taxed. And if you fall in the higher threshold, 85% of your benefit is going to be taxed. Now, taxed at your tax bracket, but 85% of the benefit, right? Now, the kicker here is that in that calculation of taxable income, to figure out what your provisional income is, they take half your Social Security benefit and add it to that calculation. That's not a kick in the pants, right? So they take your taxable income plus half of your Social Security benefit to figure out if you fall in the taxable category, right? So, hit us up in the comments and just put the word taxes if you want to know more about what those income levels are, those provisional income levels are, or if you'd like to know more about Social Security optimization, we can shoot you over some information, about that. So as far as Social Security optimization and taxes, okay. So it's very key to know. Now, the other thing that is that when you're putting, this all factors into your overall plan. Obviously, the amount of money that you're getting from Social Security, but the tax aspects, right? Remember, part of planning is the tax aspects of your retirement. We want to minimize how much taxes we're paying and the tax burden. So it's all timing and planning and what goes into that. Okay, so very critical step of figuring out what to do, when to do it, and how to do it with Social Security, right? There's a lot of different rules and regulations around Social Security. There's over 1,200 different rules and laws about Social Security. You don't have to know all those, but you do need to know the key parts, right? And working with someone that can help you navigate through that Social Security stuff. That's one thing in our program that you learn how to do, right? So if you want to know more about this aspect of it with Social Security, just put the word taxes in the comments below, and we'll get with you and get you some information to you about that. If you have specific questions, ahead of that, put it in the comments below as well. Hit us up on DM. We'll be happy to get back to you. Like I said, hit us up at hashtag live or hashtag replay below. Let us know how you're watching. Let us know how we can help. Again, keep an eye on the group for the content that we're posting, the offers that we're posting. We'll be giving you different tools and things out there that you can request from our post, and look for some offers coming down the pike. We are excited as we continue to grow the group and add content and add to our group membership, and make it a value for you guys. Right. I hope everybody's having a great week. Have a great rest of the week. We look forward to helping you align your finances to your future so you can retire happy, guys. Y'all have a great rest of the day, rest of the week. Hit us up. Let us know how we can help. Y'all take care.